The night before the National Day holiday, when the whole family was supposed to go on a trip together. My brother handed me a train ticket heading north. Hong An, there are no seats left in the car. You know that Man has never been away from the family since she was little. I bought you this train ticket, go ahead first and wait for us in Ho Ti. I nodded and took the small ticket from him. My brother let out a quiet sigh of relief. What he didn't know was that I would not be heading north to wait for them. I returned that ticket and exchanged it for another one, this time heading south. That was where Gun Nin was. The hometown that had given birth to me and raised me. That was where my foster parents and foster brother were, the people who loved me more than their own lives. This time, I would not be coming back. The day before the National Day holiday, the entire Tham family was busy preparing for their trip. Early in the morning, Mother had already started packing. She even took my foster sister to the mall and bought her lots of beautiful clothes. Father got up early too, filled the gas tank, and even carefully laid out a soft, cushioned bed on the back seat for my foster sister's precious purebred dog. After fixing the dog bed in place, Father suddenly froze. He turned to look at me, his expression stiff and awkward. Hong An, I almost forgot. This year, our family has one more person. I'll remove the dog bed right now, he said quickly. Your sister can take the dog to a pet hotel. The moment she heard that, Tham Man's eyes turned red, tears instantly streaming down her face. She hugged the snow-white purebred dog, Dada, tightly against her chest. Dad, Dada has never been separated from us since it was born. She sobbed. How about this time? I won't go. I'll give my seat to my sister. I can stay home alone and take care of Dada. Father's face darkened. He immediately rejected the idea. No, you've been with us since you were little. How could we possibly feel at ease leaving you home alone? Tham Man bit her lip and looked at me with anxious eyes. Then, what about her? She asked softly. The car doesn't have enough seats. What should she do? Father looked at me, then at Tham Man. For a moment, he was caught in a dilemma. On one side was his biological daughter, mistakenly switched at birth and only recently found again. On the other was his foster daughter, no blood relation, yet raised in his arms since infancy. The palm and the back of the hand were both flesh. Either way, it hurt. Seeing Father's conflicted expression, Tham Man hugged the dog even tighter. She took 2 steps back, tears falling like rain. Dad, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have asked for so much. She choked out. She is your real daughter. I'm the extra one in this family. I won't go anymore. You should take her on the trip. Dad, Mom, and brother, you are the real family. She was shaking as she cried, clutching the dog before turning and running upstairs. In her haste, she slipped. Her entire body tumbled down the stairs. Man. My brother lunged forward from behind me and shoved me aside to rush toward her. He moved fast, catching Tham Man steadily in his arms. She was unharmed. I wasn't. My knee slammed hard into the edge of the coffee table. It instantly swelled up, the pain piercing straight into my bones. I clenched my teeth and forced myself to stand. My foster mother once told me, we were descendants of Hong Quan. We could bleed, we could sweat, but we must never shed tears. Tham Man acted as if she had suffered unimaginable injustice. She collapsed into my brother's arms, crying pitifully. Brother, I'm sorry. I made the family have an extra person. I don't want to make things difficult for everyone. Take her with you. I won't go anymore. My brother, Tham Mak, held her tightly. He frowned and shot me a glance before lowering his head to comfort her. Don't worry. Mom and Dad won't abandon you. Neither will I. She looked up at him, her eyes still filled with tears. Then what about Dada? She asked urgently. Dada can come with us too, right? Tham Mak looked at the purebred dog squatting beside them, then glanced at me again. Yes, he said firmly, Dada will come with us. A fragile, heart-wrenching smile appeared on Tham Man's delicate face. But the moment she turned to look at me, her expression turned pale. She bit her lip, pretending to worry. Then, what about her? Tham Mak turned to me, then leaned down and whispered something to Tham Man. In the end, she smiled. She happily hugged the dog and ran upstairs. Before leaving, she didn't forget to throw me a smile, one filled with provocation. I could only smile bitterly in silence. Since the day I was found and brought back to the Tham family, Tham Man had used every possible trick to prove that Mom, Dad, and brother loved her more than they loved me. What she didn't know was that I had never cared for the Tham family's affection in the first place. Because I was never a child starved of love. My foster parents and foster brother were all extraordinary people. They had given me enough love, and enough courage, to face anything. Seeing me lower my head in silence, my brother cleared his throat and walked over to me. He spoke as if explaining, as if comforting me. Don't worry, since it's a family trip. We won't leave you home alone. I'll figure something out, just trust me, okay? I nodded to end the conversation. In truth, I wasn't even interested in going on a trip with them. It was only because Mother cried and said this would be the first time I ever traveled with the family since becoming an adult, that everyone had been looking forward to it. But I really couldn't understand. Mother said she wanted to take me on a trip, yet the suitcase she packed was filled entirely with Tham Man's belongings. Father said this trip was meant to make up for all the joy he had owed me for so many years. Yet when it came to seating arrangements, even Tham Man's dog had its own seat. And I was the only one left forgotten. Including my brother. The day they brought me home, he had hugged me tightly, eyes red, promising that he would protect me from then on, that he would never let me suffer again. Yet just now, he hadn't hesitated for a second to shove me aside, only to catch Tham Man as she fell. He saw the tears in her eyes. But he didn't see my knee bruised and swollen from smashing into the table. So this was what favoritism looked like. It truly couldn't be hidden. I just hadn't expected that his so-called solution would be buying me a train ticket to Hoti. Hong An, he said, traffic during National Day is terrible. Driving isn't comfortable at all. I bought you a train ticket, go ahead first and wait for us in Hoti. Don't worry, it's a high-speed train. It only takes a little over 3 hours, faster than us driving. Every word sounded like he was trying to convince me that this was the best option for me. So I asked him, if taking the train was so comfortable, why didn't he let Tham Man take it instead? His expression changed instantly. How could Man be compared to you? He shot back instinctively. She's been delicate since childhood. She's never even taken a bus. How could she possibly take a train? I smiled faintly. So it wasn't about driving being uncomfortable. It was because the family car only had enough space for 4 people, and 1 dog. They couldn't bear to let Tham Man suffer. So they decided I would go alone. Seeing the stunned, guilty look on my brother's face, I suddenly felt like crying. I missed my brother. Not Tham Mak, the so-called biological brother. But my foster brother in the faraway south, Lam Hong Kwan. Tham Mak would never know that I too was a girl who had never truly been away from home. There was no high school in the mountains. For 3 years of high school, I had to board with relatives, going home every Friday, returning to school on Sunday. My foster brother worried about me traveling alone as a girl. Every Friday, he stood waiting at the school gate. Every Sunday afternoon, he accompanied me to the county town to catch the bus back to school. On those bumpy mountain roads, if there were seats, I would lean my head against his shoulder. If there weren't, he would stand in front of me, shielding me. He used his broad shoulders to block me from every malicious gaze. When I was first brought back to the Tham family, I missed my foster parents and foster brother so much that I video called them almost every night. Back then, Tham Mak had asked me jealously, who was better, my biological brother or my foster brother? At the time, I felt guilty. I thought I shouldn't call my foster brother every day. afraid it might hurt my biological brother's feelings. But now I finally understood. Favoritism, once it exists, can never be hidden. Just like how Tham Mak always chose Tham Man without hesitation instead of me. And as for me, between Tham Mak and Lam Hong Kwan, I would choose Lam Hong Kwan without the slightest doubt. Everyone has their own priorities. So I don't blame Tham Mak. Because I too am about to go find my brother. When he saw me reach out and take the train ticket, Tham Mak finally let out a breath of relief. After thinking for a moment, he took out his phone and transferred 5 yuan to me. "There's a dining car on the train," he said. "If you get hungry, just go eat there. Buy whatever you want, my treat." I was about to refuse when Tham Man's soft, spoiled voice drifted down from upstairs. "Brother, didn't you say you were going to buy spicy duck necks and duck feet for me to eat on the road? We're leaving tomorrow morning, have you bought them yet?" Tham Mak looked up at her, his gaze full of indulgence. "You little thing," he said with a smile. "When have I ever not bought you whatever you wanted?" I lowered my head and stared at the transfer notification on my phone, smiling bitterly to myself. So it turned out that whatever Tham Man wanted to eat, Tham Mak would personally go buy it for her. And whatever I wanted to eat, he would just send me money and let me handle it myself. Maybe he didn't even know what I liked to eat. But it didn't matter anymore. After all, I was leaving soon. Early the next morning, the whole family changed into matching family outfits. When Mother saw that I was still wearing the blue and white clothes from the day I was brought home, her carefully groomed eyebrows knitted together. "We're about to leave," she scolded impatiently. "Why haven't you changed yet?" I looked at my brother in surprise. Hadn't he told Mother that I would be taking the train alone? Tham Mak froze for a moment. He still wasn't used to the fact that there was suddenly one more person in the house, one more responsibility added to his shoulders. He explained, his tone tinged with irritation. "The car doesn't have enough seats. I already bought a train ticket for Hong An. She'll go to Ho Ti first and wait for us there." Mother was stunned. She glanced at me guiltily, then turned to reproach him. "This is such a big matter. Why didn't you discuss it with me first? I've already packed all the luggage. Now I have to open it again to take Hong An's things out." "There's no need," I interrupted gently. "There's nothing of mine in the suitcase anyway. It's all Tham Man's things." Mother's face instantly flushed red, as if someone had stepped on her tail. She looked at me with teary eyes. "Hong An, are you blaming me for caring more about her than you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry. I'm just not used to you suddenly coming back. I suddenly have another daughter. Don't be angry, okay? I'll change. Next time I'll definitely pay attention." She looked at me, choking back sobs. Father walked over, pulled her into his arms, then snapped at me irritably. "Is it really necessary to make your mother cry over something so small? Lam Hong An, where is your upbringing?" Suddenly, Tham Man rushed over, crying and apologizing in a flurry. "I'm sorry. It's my fault, sister. Please don't be angry with Mom and Dad. No matter how you look at it, it's all my fault. I took your seat. I'm not their biological daughter, you are. You should have been the one sitting in the car. Please don't be angry anymore. I won't go. I'll give my seat to you. I'm begging you, please don't fight with Mom and Dad. Okay? They really love you. You're their real daughter." She cried so hard she could barely breathe. Tham Mak clenched his fists and suddenly shouted, "Enough. Stop arguing. This is all my fault. Hong An, if you didn't want to take the train alone, why didn't you tell me earlier? Did you really have to make a scene in front of Mom and Dad? Now everyone's unhappy. Are you satisfied now?" I parted my lips to explain, but Tham Mak seemed exhausted. He pushed me toward the passenger seat. "All right, this doesn't blame Hong An, and it doesn't blame Mom and Dad. It's all on me. How about this? I'll give my seat to Hong An. Mom and Dad can take Hong An and Man Man in the car. I'll take the train instead. Is that okay now?" Mother screamed immediately. How could that work? It's over 10 hours of driving. Neither I nor Man can drive. Are you going to let your father drive alone the entire way? Man also grabbed Mac's arm, pleading softly. Brother, Dad driving alone will be so tiring. Come with us, please. And National Day tickets are so hard to get. If you go to the station now, how could you possibly buy one? Mac hesitated, his gaze wavering as it landed on me. Mother seemed like she wanted to say something, but in the end, she swallowed it. The guilt and hope in her eyes said everything. Suddenly, I felt completely relieved. How nice. They didn't need me first. Now I could finally leave, without any attachment, without any guilt. Stop crying, I said calmly. I already bought the train ticket. Let me take the train. Besides, you're right, driving takes over 10 hours. The high-speed train only takes a little more than 3. I want to take the train. My brother's hand, gripping the car door, suddenly tightened. Father nodded at me with satisfaction. I told you so. Hong An grew up in the mountains. She's much tougher than our Man. Mother smiled too, holding my hand comfortingly. Hong An really is the older sister, so understanding. Man has been spoiled by us too much. Man shot me a jealous look, then suddenly stepped forward, leaning into Mother's arms in a clingy way. That's because you spoiled me, she said sweetly. So Mom, you have to keep spoiling me. Okay? You can never abandon Man, ever. After that, she pulled both father and brother toward herself, like a willful child arrogantly declaring ownership. Mom, Dad, and brother all spoil me. So I'm going to stick to you forever. No matter where we go. I won't leave you. She coaxed them into laughter. Even my brother couldn't help but smile indulgently. The 4 of them hugged tightly together, as if they were the real family. And I was just an extra, an unexpected burden that had left them at a loss. Father checked his watch and urged them on. All right, it's getting late, let's go. If we delay any longer, the highway will be jammed. Mother led Man to the back seat and got in smoothly. Her precious dog lay leisurely in the seat that should have been mine. Seeing me standing alone by the door, my brother couldn't suppress his guilt. From the passenger seat, he rolled down the window and called out loudly. Hong An, be careful traveling alone. Eat in the dining car if you get hungry. I'll send you the hotel address later. Once you get to Ho Ti, take a taxi straight there and wait for us obediently. Got it? I nodded obediently, then turned and went upstairs. I had already packed my luggage the night before. I only brought the things I had brought from my hometown. I didn't take a single item that father, mother, or brother had bought for me. Those luxurious things were useless back in the mountains. I left the bank card Mother had given me with the spare house keys on the entry table. Before leaving, I took one last look at the 5-story French-style villa. There wasn't a trace of reluctance in my heart. Instead, I felt light and happy, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. I took a taxi to the high-speed rail station and refunded the ticket Mac had bought for me. With the refund, I bought a regular train ticket back to Gunnin, and still had over 100 yuan left. Calculating the travel time, I bought 2 cups of instant noodles and 2 sausages for myself. With the remaining money, I bought 3 packs of cigarettes for father, a hat for my brother, and a beautiful silk scarf for mother. The regular train ran for over 5 hours. Because it was National Day, I couldn't get a seat. But it didn't matter. Many people were like me, only able to buy standing tickets. When their legs got tired, they simply sat on the floor for a while. As long as the road ahead led home, no hardship felt worth complaining about. I was sitting on the floor of the aisle, hugging my luggage and dozing lightly, when my phone suddenly rang. The screen showed Mac's name. As soon as the call connected, his guilty voice came through. Hong An, I'm sorry, I said you could wait at the hotel, but just now Man said that when she booked the rooms, she forgot that the family now has one more person. We're short one room. I called the hotel. Because it's National Day, they're fully booked. So, I cut him off impatiently. So this time, you'll probably have to stay alone at another hotel, he said. Also, earlier, Man was crying and accidentally deleted your ID information. So we can't book a room for you. You'll have to book it yourself. I'll transfer the money to you right away. I looked up at the familiar green mountains and blue waters outside the window and smiled. No need, I said gently into the phone. What? Tham Mak asked. I said, there's no need to book a hotel. You don't have to accommodate me and make the trip unpleasant for everyone. I'm not going to Ho Ti. I changed my ticket to Gun Nin. There was a loud thud. On the other end of the line. It sounded like my brother's phone had fallen to the ground. I didn't call back. After a moment of thought, I opened my phone and deleted father's, mother's, and my biological brother's numbers and WeChat, blocking them completely. I was already 18. Even biological parents had no obligation to continue raising me. I had agreed to return with them in the first place only because I had once participated in rescuing abducted children. I knew how painful it was for parents who lost their children. But after coming back, I finally realized. What I brought them wasn't joy reunited. It was inconvenience. And the burden of a family suddenly having one extra person. Since things had already come to this, it was better to part peacefully and never see each other again. Tham Man was very good. My parents and my brother liked her more. That was fine. On the way back, I took a photo of my train ticket and sent it to my foster brother. Brother, I'm home. Thinking back on my 3 years of high school, every time I returned home, those were the only words I ever sent him. Back then, I was so stupid, I thought that sending a few extra words would cost more in text fees. So I didn't dare send even one extra character. My parents' health wasn't good. The household income, my tuition, and my living expenses all depended on my brother's subsidy from working as a forest ranger. Every summer vacation and Lunar New Year, he would take me into the mountains to gather medicinal herbs. We dug bamboo shoots, picked mushrooms, using every possible way to earn money so I could stay in school. After not seeing him for over a month, did he still remember me? Would he still ride his old, beat-up motorcycle to the station to pick me up, like before? Would he blame me for abandoning him and my foster parents because of my biological parents? All my unease and doubts vanished. The moment I stepped out of the station and saw that motorcycle, tears streamed down my face. With my heavy backpack on, I looked like a lost little wild boar. I charged straight into his arms with a loud thud. Brother, I missed you so much. He had been smiling, but when he saw me crying like a miserable tabby cat from the neighbor's house, his expression darkened. Did they bully you? He asked. Who are they? I don't even need you to explain. Instinctively, I shook my head, afraid he'd worry. But then I thought about it, and nodded hard instead. Big tears splashed onto the back of his hand. Yes, they all bullied me. They said the whole family was going on a trip, so much so that even the dog had a seat. But I didn't. My biological brother is Tham Mak. He sided with that foster daughter to bully me. He tricked me into taking the high-speed train to Ho Ti to wait for them alone. He didn't even book a hotel for me. He made me find somewhere to stay by myself. Brother, can you take me home? I don't like them. I don't want to go back there ever again. My brother's eyes turned red. He pulled me tightly into his arms, his voice choking. Okay, we're going home. The old motorcycle sped along the road between green mountains and clear waters. Breathing in the fresh mountain air, I couldn't help but sing the mountain song my mother had taught me. So what if Tham Man knew how to play the piano? Could she sing mountain songs like this? And that fraud Tham Mak. He wasn't even worthy of shining my brother's shoes. What right did he have to be my brother? I didn't want to be the lost heiress of the Tham family anymore. I wanted to be Lam Hong An. I was a descendant of Hong Quan. A single blade of wild red grass that could dare make the sun and moon change the sky. The small village halfway up the mountain looked exactly the same as when I had left. The 2,000-year-old trees at the village entrance still leaned against each other. Their branches hung full of red ribbons praying for blessings. Fifth Granny sat under the tree shelling peanuts. When she saw us return, she hurriedly scooped up 2 handfuls and pressed them into our hands. She stuffed one handful into mine, then another into my brother's. Third Grandpa, barefoot and returning from cutting wild niang roots, squinted as he smiled and shoved a handful into my palm. "Hong An is back," he said cheerfully. "Here, take these. Tell your mom to cook another dish tonight." South Wang Quan, the forest ranger, carried over a gray wild rabbit and tried to shove it into my hands. "Hong An, why are you so thin?" he said. "I just caught this rabbit. Take it home, have your aunt cook it to nourish you." My brother elbowed South Wang Quan hard and growled in a low voice. "Get lost, don't you dare set your sights on my little sister." The whole way back, everyone laughed and chatted noisily. By the time we reached the house, my arms were full of fruits and vegetables. In the yard, Father was sawing bamboo pipes. Mother squatted on the ground washing smoked meat. Our spotted dog lay beside her. The forced strength I had held onto the entire way completely collapsed in that instant. The fruits and vegetables spilled all over the ground. I threw myself into Mother's arms and cried without restraint. "Mom, they all bullied me. I'm never going back to that house. Never again." Mother hugged me tightly, just like when I was little, gently patting my back. "All right," she said, choking up, "we won't go. We'll stay right here. We're not going anywhere." Father set the saw down, walked to the chicken coop, and caught a plump old hen. "The food in the city isn't as good as home, right?" he said. "It's good you're back. I'll have your mom stew it for you." That night, Mother made a huge pot of chicken soup, along with bamboo rice and smoked meat, my favorite. There were 2 big chicken drumsticks. Mother put one into my bowl. My brother put another one in too. In the end, both of them landed in my bowl. On the second day after I got home, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. The moment I picked up, Tham Mac's furious roar burst through the phone. "Lam Hong An, where did you run off to? Why did you block the whole family? Do you know Mom and Dad are going crazy looking for you?" I stayed silent for a moment, then sighed. "Tham Mac, I'm home." "Home?" he snapped. "Nonsense. I already called the housekeeper. She said you're not there at all." "I don't mean your house," I explained calmly. "I mean my own." The other end fell silent. After a moment, Tham Mac spoke with difficulty. You went back to Gun Nin? Didn't we say the whole family would go on a trip to celebrate your return? If you're not there, what exactly are we celebrating?" There was panic in his voice, confusion, and even a trace of fear that he himself hadn't noticed. As if the biological sister they had just found had appeared briefly, and then vanished again. Hearing his questioning, I suddenly found it ridiculous. "Tham Mac, stop lying to yourself and everyone else. I wasn't there, but the 3 of you sitting together in one car, that wasn't perfect enough already? You said the trip was to celebrate my return. Then why was there no seat for me in the car? Why wasn't there a room for me at the hotel you booked in advance?" The line fell silent again. Just as I was about to hang up, Tham Mac spoke. "Hong An, are you blaming us?" I nodded. "Yes, I am blaming you. Tham Mac, if you had told me earlier that there was no place for me in that house anymore, I wouldn't have followed you back at all. You know my foster parents and my brother are very good people. They couldn't bear to part with me either. So let's leave it at that. Just pretend you never found me. You already have Tham Man anyway. And I have my own parents and my own brother." From the other end came Tham Mac's heavy breathing, Tham Man's sobbing, and my parents' increasingly loud scolding. I found it meaningless and hung up. But I didn't expect them to travel all the way from Hoti to Gun Nin. After only a few days apart, Tham Mak looked utterly exhausted, unshaven, clothes wrinkled, clearly just off a slow train. My parents were there too. Behind them stood Tham Man, her face full of resentment. When Mother saw me wearing my old clothes, carrying a large bucket of pig feed, she immediately burst into tears. Hong An, you silly child. If you were suffering, why didn't you tell us? Do you know how worried your father, your brother, and I were when you left without a word? Father coughed lightly, his tone half reproachful, half apologetic. What happened with the train ticket and the hotel booking? Tham Mak and Tham Man were in the wrong. I'll make them apologize to you. But you too, we said the whole family would travel together. Just because of a small conflict with your brother and sister, you quietly ran away? You blocked everyone's contact. Was that really appropriate? I didn't think it was appropriate either. The whole family went on a trip. Even the dog had a seat. But I didn't. And you still had the nerve to say it was to celebrate my return? My foster brother suddenly walked in from outside and came to my side, gripping my hand tightly. My biological parents were flushed red with shame. Tham Mak couldn't hide his face at all, because he was the one who had instinctively chosen to bring Tham Man's dog along and make me take the train alone. Suddenly, Tham Man sobbed and walked up to me, pretending she was about to kneel. Sister, it's all my fault. If I hadn't insisted on bringing Dada with us, brother wouldn't have made you take the train alone. If you're angry, be angry at me. Mom and Dad and brother are innocent. It was so hard for them to find you. Mom even planned the whole trip carefully just to take you out. I know you don't like me. You hate me for taking everything that was supposed to be yours. Hit me, scold me, do whatever you want. As long as you forgive Mom and Dad and brother, I'll accept anything. Seeing that I still hadn't reacted at all, Tham Man clenched her teeth and really tried to kneel. But the next second, she grabbed her knee and collapsed onto the ground in pain. Man. My parents and Tham Mak rushed forward in panic. She pulled her hand away, revealing a scrape on her knee where a small stone had cut the skin. Tham Mak's eyes turned bloodshot. He lost control and roared at me. Lam Hong An, I already said everything was my fault. Why won't you just let Man go? Mother's eyes were red as she looked at me in disappointment. If I had known you couldn't tolerate Man like this, we never should have brought you back in the first place. Then don't bring me back, I said suddenly. The entire courtyard fell into deathly silence. My mother covered her mouth, staring at me in disbelief. My father's face flushed crimson, clearly unwilling to accept his authority being challenged. Tham Mak scooped Tham Man up in his arms. He looked at me and let out a cold laugh. Lam Hong An, don't regret this. They came in a rush and left just as hurriedly, their eyes fixed only on the scrape on Tham Man's knee. My brother clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles turned white. If Tham Mak hadn't been my biological brother, I was certain my brother would have already charged forward and beaten him half to death. My brother had always been fiercely protective of me. When I was little, villagers used to gossip that I didn't look like my father, whispering that my mother must have been unfaithful. My brother took his slingshot and shattered every window of those people's houses. In 9th grade, a boy who had dropped out of school, someone the teachers couldn't control, used to follow me after class and harass me. When my brother found out, he stuffed the boy into a sack and broke both of his legs. Growing up, he escorted me everywhere, even to and from school. When he heard that Tham Mak had made me travel alone on a long-distance train, he'd already wanted to punch someone for a long time. I grabbed his arm tightly. Forget it, brother, let it go. One big argument like this is good too, it cuts things clean. We won't have anything to do with them anymore. I had known since childhood exactly how to calm my brother down. Sure enough, when he heard that, his expression softened considerably. None of us knew then how soon we would meet the Tham family again. At noon, while my family was eating, the village loudspeakers suddenly crackled to life. Emergency notice. All forest rangers and militia members are to assemble immediately. A wildfire has broken out in the mountain ahead. Civilians are trapped and require urgent rescue. Assemble immediately. Assemble immediately. Brother. I grabbed his sleeve in panic. He patted my hand gently, reassuring me. It's fine. I'll be back soon. There are forest fires every year. But as I watched his hurried figure disappear, my heart began pounding violently with unease. It wasn't fire season. How could a fire break out of nowhere? I soon found out where it came from. Members of the Tham family were escorted out by village militia. Uncle Bay Dan Doan, normally known for being gentle, slammed Tham Mak to the ground and punched him hard. Tham Mak groaned, blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. Tham Man screamed and rushed forward, struggling desperately against Uncle Bay. On what grounds do you hit my brother? Uncle Bay's eyes were bloodshot. He spat on the ground in fury. On the grounds that your brother is stupid and vicious, setting off fireworks in the forest, and tossing cigarette butts into dry brush. There are signs everywhere saying no open flames. Are you blind? Tham Man looked at him with contempt, pulled out her phone, and sneered. He just wanted to make me happy. So he lit a few handheld fireworks. How big could the fire get? And even if it did burn, there's no one in the mountain, just some trees. How much money do you want? 3,000? 5,000 yuan? Poor mountain people like you are always waiting for a chance to extort money. Uncle Bay trembled with rage and pointed at the thick smoke rolling up the mountainside. Just a few trees? Do you know that because of one cigarette butt, half the mountain is already on fire? Firefighters from the entire city are rushing here right now. Do you know what's at the foot of the mountain? It's a martyrs cemetery, more than 300 Red Army soldiers buried there. And below that, over 1,000 households. If they don't escape, you and your brother could die 10,000 times and still not pay for your crimes. With a dull thud, Tham Man's legs gave out and she collapsed to the ground. Tham Mak's eyes turned red as he struggled up, trying to charge toward the flames. I started the fire. I'll go rescue them. The flames only grew stronger. Black smoke surged toward the sky. Tham Man and her parents clung tightly to him. Brother, the fire is too big. You'll die if you go in. Didn't they say the firefighters are coming? Let them handle it. Hearing the selfish, cold-blooded words of Tham Mak's parents and adopted sister, the villagers were furious enough to want to drive them out on the spot. More than half the families in this village were descendants of the Red Army. Every home bore a shining plaque of honor. We can't stand by and let innocent people die, Uncle Bay said solemnly. Then he turned to me. Hong An, didn't your brother once take you along the Red Army supply route behind the mountain? Take the villagers and these people and retreat immediately. I grabbed his arm anxiously. What about everyone else? What about my brother? Where is he? Uncle Bay paused, then pointed toward the raging sea of fire. Your brother and the village forest patrol team are already at the Martyrs cemetery. He said if they can finish cutting a firebreak before the flames spread, they might save the graves. Uncle Bay's eyes reddened, his voice choking. Back then, those soldiers sacrificed themselves so villagers could retreat. Over 300 of them died, none survived. How can we let them be burned again after all that? No, absolutely not. No, never. Tears welled up in everyone's eyes. No one was willing to leave the ancient peared trees at the village entrance. I sprinted home. There were 3 iron shovels and 2 hoes in the house. I grabbed one, handed one to my mother, and threw the rest at Tham Mak's feet. Come fight the fire with me, or take the mountain path behind us and run like a coward. Choose. Tham Man blocked him furiously, pointing at me and screaming. Lam Hong An, you think you're the only noble one? The only glorious one? The firefighters are coming. You're just a civilian. What are you trying to prove? If you want to die, go alone. Why drag my brother with you? I shoved her aside and stared coldly at Tham Mak. Go or don't, your choice. With that, I hoisted the shovel onto my shoulder and strode toward the supply route behind the mountain. That narrow path had been secretly carved out by villagers years ago to smuggle food to the Red Army when they were surrounded. Time had erased it, now only forest rangers knew it still existed. Out of curiosity, I had begged my brother to take me there several times. Behind me, villagers began arguing and organizing. Anyone with strong legs, follow Hong An down the mountain to dig fire breaks. Those staying behind, don't stop working. Boil water, knead dough, make flatbread, get food ready. Anyone with water pumps, bring them now, take everything, we might need it. Amid the dialect-filled shouts, I heard the Tham family arguing in the background. A moment later, Tham Mak chased after me. I thought he'd say he was coming to fight the fire. Instead, he shoved a brand new train ticket into my hand. Man ran off. Mom and Dad went after her. I'm worried about them. Hong An, this is a ticket home. I bought it for you. I wanted to take you with us, but now I have to find Man. After the fire is out, take this ticket and come to the station. We'll wait for you there. You have to come. I took the ticket and tore it into pieces. The scraps hit his face as they fell. So did my words, cold and merciless. Tham Mak, you disgust me. In the end, Tham Mak still left. To him, the fallen Red Army soldiers would never matter as much as the adopted sister he grew up with. But my mother had taught my brother and me from childhood, without those brave soldiers, neither of us would exist. In Tham Mak's eyes, Tham Man was family. In mine, the Red Army soldiers I had never met were my family. Flames roared overhead. Villagers from 10 surrounding villages poured in, carrying shovels, driving tractors, hauling buckets and water pumps. Ancient trees were felled, dry grass was cleared. When someone collapsed from exhaustion, another took their place. Those who rotated out trembled as they devoured meat buns and hot tea passed into their hands. No one stopped. After they finished eating, the teams rotated again, switching places so others could rest. From daylight until deep into the night, the fire raged across the mountains, dyeing the entire sky red. Yet at that very moment, another kind of light appeared, flickers from flashlights, headlamps, and torches slowly linking together, inch by inch, into a continuous line of fire. Between the endless sea of flames and the people at the foot of the mountain, that line formed an unyielding defense. We could not retreat. Behind us were thousands of lives. We dared not retreat. Behind us also lay the Red Army soldiers who had once given their lives to protect us. Now it was our turn to protect them. Suddenly, the roar of engines echoed from the distance. Motorcycles. Young men from the foot of the mountain raced upward on their bikes. On the back seats were tightly strapped crates of bottled water, boxes of instant noodles. There were even chilled soft drinks wrapped carefully in insulation. Forest rangers who had been burned were immediately carried down the mountain by motorcycle to receive treatment. Just then, someone suddenly shouted at the top of their lungs. "Where's South Wong Quan? Where did South Wong Quan go?" My mind exploded with a loud bang. I took off running eastward, the direction of the Martyrs Relics exhibition hall. I had just seen my brother lead South Wong Quan and the others to rescue the Martyrs artifacts. There were over 100 stone steps. I don't even know how many times I fell. Flames burst violently from the exhibition hall, spreading like a layer of blazing red bones before my eyes. "Brother!" I screamed until my throat tore. But the only response was the sound of beams collapsing after being burned through. My brother would not die. He had promised to protect me for life, to watch me get married and have children, to be my child's uncle. "Brother, if you're gone, if someone bullies me again, what am I supposed to do?" He would not die, he couldn't. I wiped my tears hard, then jumped with a splash straight into the small pond in front of the exhibition hall. The next second, soaking wet, I charged straight into the fire. A large hand suddenly grabbed me from behind. "Hey, are you okay?" "It's good you're here, Thank God. I turned around and buried my face in my brother's chest, sobbing uncontrollably. My brother was fine. But South Wong Quan, who had been one step behind, was crushed by a collapsing beam, both of his legs broken. After the wildfire was finally extinguished, we sent South Wong Quan to the county hospital. I didn't expect to run into my biological parents there. The moment my mother saw me, she rushed forward, her voice sharp with agitation. Lam Hong An, why didn't you answer your phone? I touched my pocket and gave a bitter smile. I lost it in the forest while fighting the fire. Anger was written all over my mother's face. Lam Hong An, man was right, you really are a jinx. Before you came back, everything in this family was peaceful. As soon as you returned, your brother went missing, and now look what happened to man. What about Tham Mak? I frowned. Didn't he go after Tham Man? My mother covered her face and began to wail. My father looked as if he had aged decades overnight. In a low voice, he said, yesterday, man ran into the forest in a tantrum. Your brother chased after her and slipped off a cliff. He was caught on a tree halfway down. Your mother and I couldn't climb down. We desperately called you, hoping you'd bring people to rescue him, but your phone couldn't be reached. We went back to the village to ask for help, but only a few elderly people were left. Everyone else had gone to fight the fire. Those who stayed could barely walk. We borrowed a rope and rushed back. But by the time we arrived, your brother had already fallen. And man, she was bitten by a venomous snake. The doctors couldn't identify the species, so they couldn't find the right antivenom. For now, they can only provide conservative treatment. My mother cried until she nearly passed out. But who could really be blamed for all this? If Tham Man hadn't run wildly into the forest, Tham Mak wouldn't have rushed after her and slipped off the cliff. And Tham Man herself wouldn't have been bitten by a venomous snake. My mother kept rambling and cursing, blaming my father for ever bringing me back. My father rubbed his temples and snapped irritably. Calm down. Tham Mak is already dead. If Tham Man dies too, then Hong An will be our only blood relative left. My mother's crying gradually faded into silence. But whether the Tham family dies out or not, what does that have to do with my Lam Hong An? I said coldly. Half a month later, I heard news of the Tham family again. My brother had inhaled too much toxic smoke during the fire and stayed in the hospital for several days. After that, my parents and I brought him home. A few days later, my brother and I, along with several forest rangers, went to the provincial capital to receive commendation certificates on behalf of the villagers. During the press conference, while I was answering reporters' questions, my biological parents suddenly rushed in. My mother cried and pleaded. Hong An, Mom knows you don't like man, but now she's gone. Come home with us, okay? My father choked up and said that both of their children had sacrificed themselves in the wildfire. I was now their only remaining bloodline. He hoped my adoptive parents would return me to them. I couldn't help laughing. Sacrificed? Mr. Tham, do you even know what the word sacrifice means? Or do you think arsonists like Tham Mak and Tham Man deserve to be called that? The crowd immediately erupted. Arsonists? So this wildfire wasn't a natural disaster? It was man-made? Amid the questioning, I saw my parents' faces turn pale with panic. I took out a video extracted from a village surveillance camera. In the video, Tham Man herself admitted that Tham Mak had smoked in a restricted area and lit handheld fireworks to amuse her. The still-burning cigarette butt had sparked a massive wildfire that shocked the entire nation. After watching the video, my mother's eyes rolled back and she collapsed on the spot. My father's lips trembled as he looked at me in despair. Hong An, you're our biological daughter. Just because we took your sister on a trip and didn't save you a seat, you refuse to acknowledge us now? Are you trying to drive us to ruin? I shook my head. Mr. Tham, even if I hadn't presented this evidence today, the police would have come to collect it anyway. As parents, you indulged Tham Mak and Tham Man. When they lit that cigarette and set the forest on fire. You should have thought about today's consequences. Both Tham Mak and Tham Man were dead. My biological parents had intended to use the press conference to whitewash the truth, turning them into innocent victims who had sacrificed themselves in the fire. But they didn't expect that many villagers had children working far away. Worried about the elderly and children at home, they had installed surveillance cameras outside their houses. The villagers loathed the Tham family for nearly burning down the Martyrs cemetery. Videos flooded the police station like falling snow. The evidence was irrefutable. Public opinion exploded. So we thought they were victims, turns out they were the arsonists. Kids don't know better, but were the adults blind too? Two old people sitting in a car, watching their kids play with fire in a fire-restricted zone, and didn't stop them? Forest arson deserves prison, don't let them off. The Tham couple was cursed relentlessly online. What awaited them next were enormous fines for the damage caused by the wildfire. By then, I was already wearing a forest ranger's uniform, patrolling the mountains with my brother. Every time we passed the Martyrs cemetery, we brought a bouquet of wildflowers picked from the forest, or local specialties from home. I heard that back then, when the Liberation Army was trapped deep in the mountains, villagers, just like us now, used the excuse of gathering firewood to secretly bring homemade food and water to the soldiers. Time passed. The country was at peace. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.